everyone. My name is Urvashi Agrawal and I am a legal editor and outreach coordinator at Manupatra. I would like to welcome you all in the first webinar of Manupatra Academy's summer webinar series. And today's topic is pursuing litigation as a career. And our speaker for today does not really need an introduction. We have with us Advocate Amish Aggarwal, who is an advocate on record in the Supreme Court of India and also an internet sensation, if I may say. A lot of us, including me, follow him as Better Call Amish on Instagram. So we are looking forward to hearing you, Amish, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Urvashi, for the very kind welcome. As you mentioned, it is definitely summer. I'm sorry, I have been traveling and the hotel that I was at had very bad internet. So I decided to show up at nearby Starbucks. There might be a little bit of, odd shriek of laughter by somebody enjoying their coffee. So you'll have to forgive me for that. But we'll try to make the most of this, this webinar. And I'm especially happy to be invited by Manupatra because I think it's just been about 15 years that I have had an affection for Manupatra ever since my first year of law school. And in fact, if I should plug it in, Manupatra is indeed my favorite research tool. So, props to you guys and thank you for starting this summer series to give additional value to your clients and prospective clients in the form of lawyers and law students. And thank you for having me. And talking about something which I'm very passionate about, which I wanted to share with everybody over here. Exactly 40 days from today, I complete 10 years into the legal profession. So
that's amazing.
This is, thank you. And to be honest, it's been quite a while since I've done a webinar. It doesn't really strike my fancy anymore. But when Manupatra and when Urvashi reached out, I said I must do it because it's Manupatra, for God's sake. It's my first year of law school, 2008. I have been I have used it as a research tool, and if the company invites us, why not? Pursuing a career in litigation. I've spoken with thousands of lawyers with their different stories of different sorts of permutations and combinations, and how they pursued a career in litigation. There is no set path for you. A lot of people ask, should I start in the district court? Should I start at the Supreme Court of India? A lot of people say, I want to become a judge. Ultimately, should I spend a little time in litigation? A lot of people have this question, should I first do corporate, then go into litigation? Should I first do litigation, then go into corporate? If I start, how do I start? How do I reach out to people? How do I get a job as a litigation lawyer? How do I get paid as a litigating lawyer? How, what to do when I stand before a judge? But I think most importantly, rather than lack of knowledge or lack of data, I think one of the biggest struggles that you face as a litigator when you start out, right? Maybe you're a law student right now and about to enter the field. Maybe you are, you're a litigator and it's been, you've just entered the profession, you've enrolled at the bar, it's been maybe 3 months, it's been maybe 13 months, it's been maybe 23 months, right? And there is all of this uncertainty, everything feels very alien. You stand there before the judge, you're always afraid. You don't really know what to say, what to do. You don't really get good guidance. These are things that I keep hearing on a daily basis.
I was there just a couple of years ago in that situation, so I can relate a lot.
Absolutely. And I have resonated with almost each and every single one of these challenges myself, and I know how difficult it is for people to begin. Of course, whenever I say this, I always I have to give this caveat that I am a third generation lawyer. So I had my own story, my own permutations and combinations of a different sort, where I had a different set of challenges. One thing I've realized, a lot of people say this: you're a third generation lawyer, there's no difficulty for you. And I have in the past made a mistake of saying to somebody, oh, because you're so rich, there's no problem for you. Because you have ABC, there's no problem for you at all. There is always a problem, right? Always a problem. You look at the children of the top litigating lawyers in the country, and they will have a different set of challenges compared with mine, perhaps. And to a huge extent, people think that, because you are not in that scenario, you can't resonate. Trust me, I can. I have, this one thing I remember, his friend, who was also a law school batchmate, whose father at that time was a judge, he said this thing: there can be someone to, take you to the water, but to learn how to swim, you'll have to do it yourself.
Yes, definitely.
Right. Now, having said that, I would still say that I do feel like I have certain insights to offer, especially having had discussions with those who did not have any of the clout, the backing, the patronage that I enjoy. One of the biggest misconceptions that people have is, and this is in fact something that I used to struggle with as well. One of the biggest questions that people have is, okay, I would say the two biggest things would be, how do I learn? Right? Where do I go? What do I do? And the second biggest one is, how do I earn? When you're in the legal profession, there are just two things: how do I earn? How do I learn? And then how do I learn? A lot of times people mix up the two as well. Am I audible, Urvashi?
Yes, yes.
Okay. A lot of times people mix up the two as well, or one precedes the other. Sometimes a law student or a lawyer says, there is plenty of time to learn, which is not an incorrect thought. There's plenty of time to learn, but I need to earn that money right now. So let me just give out a little bit of insight on how to learn. I've talked about it on other occasions as well, but this is something that I try to drive home on every occasion, which is when you are when you're an aspiring litigator, one thing of course is to gobble up as much of resources as you can on the internet, be it courses, be it articles, judgments. I'll be honest about something. Guys, I have zero idea about how to learn corporate law. Right? I have a lot of friends who are corporate lawyers. They keep talking about Gen Corp and transactions of different sorts, such as M&A, PE, banking. I have zero clue. And neither can I offer you any insights as to how to, if you're an outsider, how to get inside the club. I have no idea, right? I talk to my friends. I ask them, how do I learn? How does anybody learn? And they always give these very vague, details. Go to the internet and read up articles. And some of them joke that we are literally glorified researchers. That's what they say. That's why that's what we are billing large amounts of money to corporations. But I can tell you one thing: as a litigator, assuming for a second that you have absolutely no patronage over your head, you have no clue, maybe you're not even in a big city, you're a very small town and you're joining from a small town on the Zoom call. How do I learn about the practice of law? One very beautiful thing that Indian jurisprudence, Indian justice system does is that it keeps a completely open access to all judgments on the internet. If today I were to start out and say, okay, how do I learn? What is the court procedure? One thing is that you go on the internet and you read, of course, bar and bench, live law, legally India, they were just starting out around the time that I graduated from law school, just a little prior to that. And they have picked up quite well. But even if you go old school,
I will also just completed 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, and I remember, like, I was one of those few people who would gobble up everything that he could on the internet, right? How to, write better, go to the internet. How to, how to research better, go to the internet. I learned how to, and people laugh when I say this, I learned how to do swimming. I learned how to swim at the age of 27, 28, a few years ago, by looking up how to swim. And mind you, I'm not an internet swimmer. Like, I actually went and executed, and I was able to, practically teach myself how to swim by going on the internet and finding that. Now, learning litigation, right? This is one thing that most young lawyers starting out do not think about. The law of the land. What does Article 32 say? What does Section 482 say? They will be able to read up all of these judgments on the internet with very easy access. So the articles are talking about it. The judgments on Indian Kanun, Manupatra even, and all of these other research tools, they are there. One thing that a lot of people do not talk about, which is one of the easiest ways, it is, taking candy from a baby. So easy to learn the practical procedural nuances of what is going on in a court system, right? This is what I used to do. I would get, say, a completely new matter. This is 7, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. I would get a civil suit. A client comes and says, I want to go, and I know that, okay, you have to file a civil suit. But what's going to happen? The client's going to ask, what is the relief that you're going to see on the first date? Which is the next date that is going to happen? What can we expect on the first date? What should we be ready for? What's going to happen on the second date? These are things that these judgments don't talk about. What's going to happen on the first hearing? What's going to happen on the second hearing? But there's a very easy way to figure out, and that is, it's not just judgments which are available on the internet. The order sheets in those orders, the order sheets which led up to those judgments, those order sheets are also available. A lot of young litigators especially do not think about it. They are dependent on their seniors, their mentors, their senior at the bar, right? Maybe friends, colleagues. But a very simple way to figure out for yourself, if you do not have any mentor, is to just go on the internet. You have to do a little bit of research. Even Manupatra, for that matter, offers order sheets which led up to the particular judgment. You go through those order sheets and you will be able to figure out 95% of what exactly is going to happen. Say, for example, I have an anticipatory bail matter listed before the Honorable Delhi High Court. I know, and it is listed, say, for example, 3 days from now. The list has come out. I know before which judge this matter is listed. One aspect is, of course, I can go and sit in his courtroom and I can see what kind of a judge he is and what kind of arguments will transpire. That is, again, an amazing thing that you can do for your client, for your case. Another thing that I used to do, I would pull out daily orders passed by this very judge. And I would go through, maybe, in those years, I would maybe go through 200, 300 of them to see that in exactly my kind of matter, say, in example, in a attempt to murder case, is there a possibility, will this person give anticipatory bail?
Yeah, what is the judge's normal stand on these matters, like generally?
Yes. One thing is, what's the stand of the judge? So you get into the psyche of the judge. Second is, what date will be given? Will it be 4 or 5 months? Will it be 1 week? Right? That has a huge impact. Will interim protection be granted or not? Right? If the judge is going to dismiss, then can I seek some other relief from the judge? Right? So you can get so much of these small data points by looking at order sheets which led up to the judgment, not just the judgment itself. There have been a lot of occasions where I needed to understand. I remember this was around 5 or 6 years ago. We had never done a defamation case till then. Okay? And I needed to figure out exactly what's going to happen on the first date of hearing. Then I filed my civil suit for damages for the cause of action of defamation. I just pulled out a couple of judgments. I Googled, I found judgments in which there was a decision. And of course, those judgments are not going to tell me what's going to happen on the first date, right? So I kind of went backwards. I found the judgment, then I put that judgment's case details in the e-courts website. And because of that, I was able to pull out the first day's order sheet, the second day's order sheet. And I was able to tell this client and convince him that, yes, we are the lawyers for you. This is the thing that we will do. This is what's going to happen on the first day. This is going to happen on the second day, right? So, so this is something that you can do, right? Which, I mean, of course, there are hundreds of things, but this is one thing that I've seen a lot of people do not do. And so therefore, for the 66 participants who are over here right now, this is something that you should take as a good takeaway. And okay, so another, now coming to how do I earn, right? I've talked about it on social media. I don't know if you've seen it. I've talked about on social media how having an online presence is extremely helpful. It's not just the number, and I've seen this happen a lot of times. A lot of people say, oh, because Amish has so many followers, that's why it helps him with clients. Honestly, that's not the case. The beauty of being a lawyer in India, you just put out one video which gets maybe 20 views by your friends and your family members, right? It's not about the number of views. It's not about the organic reach. It's not about you going viral. None of that. There have been a lot of occasions where I'm talking to a client or maybe a prospective client, and that person has a question, and or maybe they have a doubt, or maybe they have a misconception, and I tell them this is not how it works, right? And so instead of giving them the answer there itself, I say, you know what? I made a video about this particular topic a couple of months ago. Have a look. This establishes me to a huge extent as an authority figure in the particular domain.
You know about this, and you have been talking about it since months at least.
Yes, that's one thing. Another incredible benefit that I saw is that from day one of posting videos, I started getting more clients. This is the crazy thing. When I did not make videos, I have this cousin, okay, and I have a couple of other cousins. I have this one cousin who works in a management job in a company, but he's a big champion for Amish. Everywhere he goes, he's like, Amish is the best lawyer, and he's like he's a very nice, cheerful guy. So everyone wants to kind of talk to him. And wherever he goes, like, Amish is the man. You should go for Amish. But every single time, he would maybe say, if 10 people I know, one of them would contact me, because we don't know. Gaurav bhai, ye kya matlab de raha hai? We don't know, like, who's this guy? We have no idea who this is. You look at the photo, doesn't look very old, doesn't have many white hair on his head, at least at that point of time. Doesn't look experienced enough. Let me go to some bald guy with white hair who looks like he knows what he's doing, not this chump. But here's the beautiful thing. I remember within 5 days, I posted I have one video on YouTube, right? My brother's this big, champion for Amish. So Gaurav bhaiya, is talking to his colleague, like, something's happening. So now Gaurav bhaiya, instead of saying, oh, Amish is this kick-ass lawyer, you should hire him, he says, Amish is this kick-ass lawyer, you should hire him. Watch this video he put out last week, right? And the moment, he would do that, that would kind of set me apart from all the other lawyers out there, right? If you even, and now on that point, I must say this, a lot of people say, I don't know anything. What the hell do I even talk about, right? I tell people, I'm 10 years into my practice. It's literally whenever I walk into court, I feel like I'm this doofus who has no idea about anything at all. And I think that is how it is going to be for the rest of my life. Because no matter how much I learn, no matter how much of an expertise I get in any domain, there's always 10 new things coming up every single day. Yes. And right now I'm on vacation. I am not paying attention to what is happening in the world of law. I'm not following Bar and Bench and Legal India and the WhatsApp groups and the WhatsApp updates. I'm not. So now I'm again at a loss. I don't know. I'll have to do a lot of catching up. The point is this: it doesn't matter whether you know or not. What matters is how well you are able to document your journey. So I've talked to a lot of lawyers and law students, and I always tell them, and I beseech all of you as well. Instead of thinking, oh, I don't know, when I do have some knowledge, then that is the time that I'm going to share with the world. That is completely incorrect. You should be sharing today. You should be sharing right now. Rather than thinking, oh, tomorrow will be the day. Today has to be the day. And you will learn, you will evolve, and you'll make mistakes, and that is completely okay. But it's the most beautiful, it's the most powerful thing as a professional. You have to be out there and doing this. When you do, you will be able to inspire far more confidence in your family members, your friends, who will then refer you to their family members and their friends, who will then come to you and who will then hire you for their legal matters. And another thing I must say, if you are okay, another way to look at it is, I want to learn, I'm not able to find mentors. There have been many occasions lawyers, law students have reached out to me and they say, nothing is working out, absolutely nothing. And I tell them, all right, nothing is working out, then try this. Post a couple of videos, write a couple of articles, right? Do this, then reach out to people. When you do, say that I am so-and-so applying for a job, I'm so-and-so applying for an internship. I have also made videos on a few topics which you may find interesting. I've also written these articles which were published on LinkedIn or anywhere for that matter. It's so funny. You will write the most horrible articles, incomprehensible articles. You will make the worst possible videos. But the fact that you were one of those 1% people who actually did something apart from the crowd, instead of, hello, sir, hello, ma'am, I am deeply interested to learn from you. Where can I send my CV to you? It just doesn't work. I've honestly stopped replying to this internship query, job query, because it's just so overwhelming, especially for a person like me who produces so much of content. But even otherwise, every other person, I get maybe say 20 messages or 20 people reach out to me every day. Others are still getting 3-4 messages, but we have no idea how to set ourselves apart. Right? But you do this, a lot of seniors will be very happy to see someone doing something a little more progressive than they are. There's this one person who made 3 videos, utter nonsensical videos, still was offered 3 jobs in a matter of 1 week when that person attached the video links along with the message seeking that job. 3 job offers. And another benefit of making videos, you will meet lawyers, again, because you're setting yourself apart. When you reach out to lawyers to connect with them, they're far more agreeable to connect with you, to talk to you. They see your face, they listen to you, the tone of your voice. They are able to distinguish you as an actual human being rather than just a faceless entry in this long list of entries. Curriculum vitae, forget about it. In fact, I would say, you should think of job applications in the form of video resumes. That is something that might just work. I think these are a couple of things that I always tell people, and I want to kind of drive home the point of it. I think I've taken a little time. I'd love to jump into Q&As and maybe kind of take it from there if there are many.
Yeah, sure. I was thinking we have received some questions in our Google Forms when we were taking the registrations. So maybe we can take a few of them and then maybe a couple of questions that we're receiving in chats. Sounds good? Okay.
Sure.
So one is, something that you just talked about, how to get internships under advocates, how to approach them, etc. So if you'd like.
Yeah, so whatever I just said, and apart from that, this is one thing that I tell everybody. Anybody who tells me, oh, I'm not able to get an internship, or I'm not able to get a job, I always ask them, how many times have you applied? How many people have you applied? When the answer is always lots, and I say, what is lots? Give me a figure. Is it 500, 5,000? And they say 30, 40, 50. And I always tell them that you're supposed to be applying to, this is something that I've repeated 1,000 times. You're supposed to apply to 50 places a day, every single day. Apply for 1 week straight. And then you come back to me and tell me you could not find an internship. You come back here and you tell me that you could not find a job. Right? I have this one associate, this one person is an acquaintance. And I told this person, you have to apply. And again, there's a slow start, about 40, 50 mails sent in about 2 days or 3 days. A couple of LinkedIn messages. But around the 4th or the 5th day, around I think the 110th or the 120th LinkedIn message, this person got a fantastic job working with some, I think it's a legal processing outsourcing unit. And for this person, money was a little bit of a major concern. So I think around 45,000 per month, which is fantastic. I know so many lawyers who have gotten jobs with good seniors just by reaching out like this. But it's a numbers game. You have to be doing huge numbers. You cannot be thinking, oh, let me reach out to 5 or 10 or 20 or 50. That's not going to happen. 50 a day, every single day, for 7 days straight. And you tell me that I was not able to get you an internship, and then we'll talk.
And I guess what I experienced when I used to apply for internships and along with my friends, that people do not follow up. Like, people you're applying to are very busy. You cannot send one mail and forget, might not as well apply. You need to follow up for your application.
Absolutely. I'll give you this example. How people are lost in their own thoughts. This was around 3 years ago. So funny. 3 years ago, this law student, sent an email, and I read the email. Right, I try to on most days, and back then there were far fewer emails compared to now. So this law student sent an email saying, "Sir, I live in the same residential area as you." He quoted the name of the residential area where I stay, and he said that I live in the same residential area. I am a student of so and so college. I would love to get an opportunity to intern with you if possible. And I'm reading that email at around 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. I just woke up. I was, randomly going through my phone. And while I'm reading this email, I'm thinking, wow, it would be incredible to have a law student, because I had a very small team of around 2 lawyers back then. In fact, yes, 2 lawyers. 2 lawyers back then. So I thought, how wonderful would it be to collaborate with a law student who lives just like a couple of 100 meters away from me. If he's hardworking, I can utilize his, energy, and I'd be happy to teach him further and know about the law. I'm thinking all of this, right? And I'm thinking, wow, I definitely need to interview this guy and see if we are a good fit. But while I'm thinking this, I get a phone call. And then I get another phone call, and then I'm busy with my day. And then about 24 hours later, or I think 48 hours later, I'm like, oh shit, there was this guy. He fantastic fellow, right? I had to revert, and I could not remember his name. And then I tried to Google like my residential area's name, and I could not find that email. 2 days later, I could not find that email, and I'm thinking, oh god damn, what am I supposed to do now? I have no idea. About a week later, I get a phone call from this fellow. Phone call, the guy says, "Sir, I live here in your same area. I sent an email, didn't get a revert. Is it possible for me to, talk to you for 2 minutes about it?" And I, god damn, would have been looking for you. Come over. And that guy is still with me till date. He's one of my favorite, team members. I've been grooming him. He helps me out so much, and he's such a nice guy. I've called him to the residence office to help me out. At 6 a.m., there have been occasions where he and other team members, they've left at 1 a.m. at night. You know, I think of him like my little brother, and we've had such an incredible relationship just because he had the good sense to follow up with me. And if he would not have, oh my God, none of that would have happened. Right? So, people have a lot on their minds. And with every passing day, with social media addiction, with, all of these various stimuli that we have, it's almost impossible to remember things. Follow up to whatever extent you can. But I think, I'll be honest with you, Urvashi, I don't really think about following much, because if you do reach out to 350 people as of today, I don't know, maybe if someone watches this webinar 2 years down the line and the market has grown for or maybe there's a little bit of a disparity, I don't know. Today I can guarantee you, if you're a law student and you apply to 350 lawyer/law firms, you will get an internship, you will get a job. There is no doubt about it. There have been so many people I've told this, and I'm like, okay, nahi ho raha hai na, so try this. And literally every single one of them, none of them have reached day 7. Okay, none of them have reached day 7 till now. Every single one of them has got some opportunity or the other. They may not be the best opportunities in the world, and I tell them, okay, if you're not getting a fantastic opportunity with something that you truly love, get whatever you are getting right now in this moment, and build on that to build your momentum.
Opportunity.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for this answer, Amish. My next question, I'll combine the next 2 questions. One is that what all skills am I supposed to work on while I'm in law school to pursue a litigation career? And the second one is, how important is mooting as a law student? Because I personally believe that moot courts are drastically different from the real courts in India. So how important is mooting, and along with other skills that I should work on if I want to pursue litigation as a career?
I would say one of the best things you can do to become a good litigator while you're in law school is to just intern. That's one of the best ways to go about it. I always tell law students that there is no difference between you and an advocate, except that the advocate can just do 2 more things, which is sign on a wakalatnama and represent somebody else. And the second is to appear before the judge. Apart from that, you can do the client counseling, you can do the strategy, you can do the drafting, you can do the filing, you can get the listing done before the judge.
Yeah, research, drafting, all of that.
Everything. And I remember, I've done this with multiple law students. Law student reaches out, says, sir, I want to make a career, I'm not sure. I have people coming in, potential clients, and I refer them to other lawyers. I'm like, why don't you do it yourself? You can literally do everything yourself. You just need to maybe engage an advocate like me, or like tens of thousands of other advocates who are happy to, go to the court and represent the client. But if you're doing the drafting, the filing, and everything else, of course, you need to be good. You cannot be bad or substandard at it. But if you're good, there's nothing stopping you from becoming an advocate or being an advocate in the practical sense of things. Today, you may not just be able to do these 2 things, these 2 small things. And how do you build up the ability to do all of that in turn? Learn as much as you can. Read up these judgments and these court orders as much as you can. Now, as law student, make content, videos, articles. The pressure is far less. You're not looking for clients. You're not looking to be proved right. You can just say, okay, today I learned this thing. Today I saw this thing. Today I read about it. You don't need to be right. That can be a nuanced point. Right? A lot of times people are like, oh, what if I say something and it turns out to be incorrect? Okay, fine. But talk about what you saw happen in front of you today. It may be right, it may be wrong. This is what the counsel said. This is what the judge said. Now there might be some ABC versus XYZ judgment passed by the Madras High Court in 1929, which says something different. But we are not concerned with that. We are concerned with what transpires today. And that's in fact something that I do a lot of times. Apart from that, now, college debates. college, extracurriculars, moot courts. I do agree with you that moot courts are very different compared with actual court craft and advocacy. But it's like posing this question: Does a person who is a Harvard graduate, did that person become successful because he went to Harvard, or is it that he had to be successful? It had to be inevitable, but because he was anyway so bright and Harvard could see the potential of success in him, that they admitted him in, right? There's that age-old question about premier Ivy League schools. It's the same thing over here. I have consistently seen that people who performed well in moot courts turned out to be great litigators in the courts. I'm not saying that I have not seen people who did not do moot courts not succeed in courts, but it's a little bit of an indicator. I myself did not do any moot courts till my fourth year, and I think my third or my fourth year, and around that time I did maybe around 3 or 4 moot courts. It is definitely far different. You cannot be a moot court lawyer and then go and argue a matter before a judge. But I think it's the love for the craft. It's what you see. It's the thing that generates that interest inside of you, and it also connects you with a lot of lawyers, right? I know I have this friend who got a very prestigious internship. Now, I got an internship because I knew somebody who knew somebody when I put in that request and I got that internship way back in the day. That fellow, he got first prize in a moot court competition which was attended by an associate at that firm, and the two of them stayed in touch. The judge was the associate of the firm and this fellow. And when he asked this associate if I can get an internship with the firm, the associate was happy to oblige him. You make a lot of friends along the way. I have several friends who are advocates all over the country, who I have met at moot court competitions when I went to different parts of the country to attend these moot court competitions. So, and some things in life, you don't really look at the cost-benefit analysis in the direct sense. Moot courts are something that I would definitely encourage every single person to do. You get the opportunity, go for it. If you haven't done it in law school for whatever reason, does not mean that you will not be a good litigator. I have also seen many people who never did a single moot court, but are doing very well for themselves. Conversely, I also know, people who did a lot of moot courts, but ended up in a completely different field. So then, to what extent was that moot court experience helpful, useful? But I would say top would be internships. Second would be moot courts, in order to prepare yourself better to be a litigator once you graduate.
Yeah. So this is again a question which has been asked by multiple people, because the word judge is very, scary at times. So people have confidence issues. A lot of people want to know how to boost your confidence when talking to people. Forget talking to judges in general also, because you cannot be a litigating lawyer and not be confident while talking to your clients or your colleagues. So a lot of people want to know how to boost your confidence when talking in front of people, when talking in moot courts, etc.
2 thoughts come to my mind. One is my Taujis. My Tauji is the person from whom I learned the practice of law. And he's always told, not just me, every single junior of his. And I'm guessing he's had some 120 juniors over various periods of time. Every single junior he tells this. किसी से डरने की जरूरत नहीं, ना अपोजिंग काउंसिल से, ना जज से. मेरा सिंपल सा फंडा है, मैं सिर्फ भगवान से डरता हूँ. And that was something that kind of motivated all of us, all of the juniors at his chamber, to kind of act in a more fearless way. However, the caveat there is, this was a government prosecutor's office. And things are very different at a government prosecutor's office compared with private practice. Coming to private practice now, and this is kind of intertwined, right? You think that, oh, you're scared to address arguments before a judge. Think about it. Why is that? Why are you scared to make arguments before a judge? If you've read the file, if you know the law, one thing is, of course, if I don't know the law, if I don't know the facts and I'm going in blind, there's no...
You should be scared.
Yeah, you will be embarrassed, you will be mocked, you will be ridiculed, and you kind of deserve it. It's okay. Sometimes seniors send you with the file at the last minute. It's okay. Take that punch. You go in for boxing training. You will have first couple of 100 times stray punches thrown at your face, and you should be okay with taking. You should not be afraid to take a beating. Now, let's say this is one thing that kind of really troubles people, right? I have read the file, I know my facts, I know the law, I've seen this happen 1,000 times. Yet now I'm standing before the judge and I am palpitating and I don't know what to do. This is mad. What am I supposed to do? Here, I say this. This is something that has come up very recently in discussions with other people. We are scared. We are intimidated. We are in awe and fear of people, irrespective of who they are, what they are. What matters is what kind of a perception do we have of them. If we think that the judge is a infallible divine entity, can make no mistake, then of course you will hold that judge in extremely high veneration, and it is very difficult for you to then not lose your cool, not lose your presence of mind when you're standing before that judge. With a lot of experience comes the realization that judges are also as prone to making mistakes as a lawyer is. That helps offset some of that nervousness.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say, practice makes you perfect. Sure. But is that chicken or egg thing? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Will you be able to have the courage to go and practice getting your face punched in day by day, every single day, multiple times a day? Or do you build up the confidence and then you go in and do this? The way I look at it, it's kind of a mixture of both. You go and take the punches, realizing that these punches are going to do nothing. These punches are being delivered by a human being as well, who is as prone to making mistakes as you are. Having said all of this, trust me, the fear in a certain sense never goes away. And I'm grateful for having that fear. For the few judges that I do have that fear right in front of me. Because one thing is your fear of addressing the judge, another is the fear of messing up, making a mistake. This is another thing that has kind of started coming up very recently in conversations. It's good to have some fear.
Yes.
When you are fearless, when you are without fear, you either have delusional confidence, which can be a big problem. Maybe you have a lot of experience, but let me tell you this. David and Goliath story, when you have a lot of experience, you tend to slack off. You tend to take it easy. You tend to think it is manageable. And when you do that, it's very easy for David to come along with a small rock, take down a Goliath. It's not the end of the world. You have a confidence issue. Go stand in the ring. Go a few rounds. Whenever you can, as much as you can. I always tell lawyers and law students, young ones, try to join a government lawyer's office. Huge amounts of work, dozens and dozens of appearances every single day. And because there are so many matters, your senior cannot be there in every single matter. So a lot of work will be difficult to do. You will be going and arguing a lot of matters every which way. use that opportunity to go and argue these matters yourself. You do this. I say this myself. I spent about 5 years at a government, public prosecutor's office. I think that is that experience of arguing thousands of matters over these 5 years gave me the confidence to be able to stand before pretty much any judge and be able to make my submissions.
Another question which I'm sure you keep hearing around a major discussion which is always happening, is the pay disparity that we have in this industry, especially for the freshers. So a lot of people want to know about, especially earning as a fresher is a huge issue. So how to earn and how to survive in this industry when you have, because all of us have financial responsibilities, and in all honesty, the initial years of litigation do not pay well, and a lot of people leave because they have to, So what do you think on this?
My stance on this is very clear. We can either lament the situation or we can do something about it. One route which has been suggested by a lot of good intentioned young lawyers is that we should have minimum stipend. Minimum stipend means there will be a handful of people who will actually be employable at that salary, and the rest will all be thrown out. I think about it like this. I was paid 10,000 per month by my boss when I started out. If someone would have said, whoever hires Amish must pay him minimum 30,000 a month, I would have been unemployable. Nobody would be ready to pay Amish 30,000 rupees a month when Amish started out as a litigation lawyer, when he enrolled himself at the bar. It is as simple as this. It's very easy for people to say, oh, he should give. By that analogy, you should also pay your lawyer XYZ. Lawyer should be paid, by the government. There is no end to this. Absolutely no end to this. And I always say this to whoever cribs about this. And I'll tell you, what? This is one thing that a lot of people don't want to talk about. You look at a few hundred top lawyers who were outliers in every sense. They outworked everybody. They worked far better than everybody. They were smarter than everybody. Tons, way more smarter than everybody. They had the right connections. They had the lineage. They had the legacy. All of these things came together. Not just one of these things. But the point that I'm trying to make is you see a couple of hundred lawyers who are earning immensely well, and you look at them and you say, oh, lawyers earn so much money. I strongly am telling you this as well. It's not that lawyers are earning a lot of money.
I agree with this part. You see a few of them and you think, oh, it's just us who's not earning, everybody else is, yeah.
Exactly. Even I know lawyers with 20 years of experience, 30 years of experience as individual, as solo attorneys. They're not making more than, say, maybe 1.5, 2 lakhs this month. Now, how much money should that lawyer pay their junior? 30,000, 40,000? I have got 20 years of experience at the bar. I am earning 2 lakh rupees a month. I need to have a junior. Or let's say, you can't afford it, don't hire a junior. Okay, fine. I'll do it myself. Right? I'm earning 2 lakh rupees a month. I'll do it myself. If I have to pay someone 30,000, if I have to have a junior, might as well do it myself. Or, what I'll do? I will hire a person who is not a lawyer, teach him all the things that they need to do, for which they don't need a law degree. What I said earlier, right? And then again, what legislation will help you in securing these so-called rights that you desire? The absolute bitter truth. I say this to everybody. Being a privileged brat or degeneration lawyer, you will get paid what you are worth. No more. Nobody pays me, no client pays me money because I'm a third generation lawyer. They pay me because I deliver some value. You can crib all you want about my senior doesn't pay me this. Tell me this. Did you, in your first year of law school, what were you doing? Were you getting drunk with your friends and family members or with your college friends? Were you going on college trips? Were you scrolling through Instagram for 5 hours a day? Were you sitting in class and listening to idiotic teachers barking their heads off and chose not to focus on a skill or some sort of an education which actually would help you make more money? You don't do anything, and then you think of yourself as eligible for or you entitled to make some money. I'll tell you this: 5 years of law school, I did about 5 or 6 internships. I could have done so much more. I am guilty of all the things that I have just criticized people for doing, and that is why I was paid 10,000 bucks. If I would have put in effort from day one at the right places with the right guide, I'm a third generation lawyer. I did not get that kind of guidance. If I could go back to 2008, I would tell Amish, intern as much as you can. If you do not have the best teachers, it's better that you go out and you learn.
I agree. Internship is so much important. In 5 years of my law school, I did like 10, 11 internships, and I'm so thankful to my college for that, because today I see students in 5th years and they don't understand basic stuff like what is NCLT and what is a Bear Act. So it's just heartbreaking. That what are you doing?
And they are the ones, Urvashi, who are going and lamenting that lawyers are not getting paid. You tell me this, brother. What is the solution? Should we have minimum salaries? If we do, lawyers will not hire juniors. Okay? Should we say that the government should interfere? Where does that money come from? It's like me saying, you know what? I have the dreams to become an NBA player. Okay? I want to become, but it's so sad. They do not take Indians. They do not take chubby Indians with bad knees in the NBA. They should be taken. You know what? Maybe this game is not for you. Honestly, I'm saying this. Maybe this game is not for you. I spent several years sleeping 2-3 hours a day, every single day, for weeks on end, because I am, losing my mind over these matters, trying to get a little bit of, get a grip over these cases. I remember when I started my practice, I had 3 or 4 strands of white hair on my head when I started practice. 3 months later, I had 50. 3 months later, I had 50. This is not for everybody. I am, like someone says, I'm, you know what? It's not too bad. It's not too bad if you leave for other places.
We are nearing
so much to say for a seminar on how to build a career in litigation.
I'll just ask a couple of questions, not taking much of your time. Sorry. So just one question is, and I guess since both of us come from non-NLU colleges, so this is a pertinent question to ask right now. There's a lot of debate and actual, difference between the treatment of students coming from NLUs and non-NLUs. So would you like to say something on that? Students from NLUs tend to struggle, at least in the bigger law firms at times, or at places that they don't get treated at par.
किसी ने ये तो कहा नहीं है कि तुम्हें NLU मिल रहा है और नॉन NLU मिल रहा है. You don't choose the NLU. राइट? ऐसा तो है नहीं कि उन्होंने कोई ये चिटकनी लगा के रखी हुई है कि नहीं हम इस बच्चे को हम NLU में घुसने नहीं देंगे. राइट? Whatever you get, make the most of it. Let me say this. Yes, people from NLUs have a better chance, and people from NLUs, they do better. Better faculty, better judges, better lawyers coming to meet them, that better brand recognition, face value, all of that is there. So what? So what? It is there, so what? Now what? Like, I did not do my law from an NLU. Should I give up now? What do I do? If giving up was an option, maybe I would have, okay. I don't give. I'll not give up. Right? I won't. If you can, go to an NLU. If you did not, if you could not, make the most of what you have. Make the most of what you can do. And let me tell you this. I know, and you know what? This is the irony of life. Okay. You think, oh, they got this, so now, not really. I know NLU lawyers. I'm doing better than some of them. And I would argue, because I started out at 10,000 rupees a monthly salary. I had a bigger hunger than these people who got a salary of 60,000-70,000 rupees per month, 1 lakh rupees per month at firms and at chambers, starting out. Now I can tell you I'm making more than these people 10 years down the line. Right? I had more hunger than these people. Right? And this is something that I also believe in. Majority of the NLUs are placed in far off, big, majestic campuses, but they're not able to get that real life internship experience going every single day. Now, kids like you and me from non-NLUs, especially in the bigger cities, a lot of our colleges are placed right next to the district court. Right? I went to the main campus of Indraprastha University. 2.5 years we spent at Kashmiri Gate in Delhi. It was 1 kilometer away from 30,000 Chowk. 2.5 years we spent in Dwarka. Again, about 2 or 3 kilometers away from Dwarka. Right? And I'll tell you this. We had law students, we had NLU Delhi just about 1 kilometer away. I don't know about now, but back then, 2013 batch, I had friends. They told me we are not allowed to leave the college except on the weekends.
Oh.
Because we've got our classes and everything. We were not allowed to leave their college. I did not, again, because I was that Nikamma fellow, I did not go do internships right after my classes. I have a lot of friends who are more successful than I am. Who, after every single day after the classes got over, they would drive or take the bus or the metro to the firm, the chamber, wherever they were working, and they would get that experience. Those are the only people, in fact, Urvashi, who are doing better than I am right now.
Yes, you have to, work as much as you can and learn as much as you can. Everybody has college, everybody has classes, but people who do a bit different do better. Yeah. So I'll just ask one more last question which has come in the chat,
Sure.
and one request I would say, that is, so the request is that a lot of people are requesting, it's a content request for you actually, on the sections of UAPA, and if you could, a lot of people want to learn about UAPA and MCOCA. So if you could in future.
So that's the thing, people say, talk about this, talk about that. I could literally, I could read up the judgments, I could read up the law, and I could do a presentation. That's not really my style. Guys, I only like to talk about the things that I am seeing practically
matters
happening
you
in my
deal
cases. It doesn't make sense for me. I have never been the professor who would be able to, oh my God. As ironic as it is, I hated academics. I've never been the academia kind of fellow. My job was not the condensation of large amounts of knowledge widespread over the entire thing. I was always about going in deep in a few topics. That's something that I've always cared about. You talk about Macopa and UAPA when I get a matter of UAPA and Macopa. Till now,
Now this is the last question before we wrap this up. I
Sure.
guess I kind of know the answer to this, but I would like to hear from you that how do you manage going to court and then coming, then preparing for the next day? And the main line of the question is, does the law life get easier or you adapt soon after?
Well, I would say, so I'll give an anecdote about this. A couple of months ago, someone asked me, Amish, like, how much do you work nowadays? I said, I barely work. You know, I feel like I barely work. Why? Because I'm either talking to clients on the phone for a little while and responding to text messages in the WhatsApp group. I have built up a very strong team to assist me in all of my matters. So they're doing the drafting, they're doing the filing, they're doing the listing work, which is about 80% of the work anyways. I am doing the strategy, I am doing the vetting of the drafts, and I'm doing the appearances. And so, a lot of times it doesn't feel like work. It's like there's no work at all. And there was this particular week where I had some other family commitments. And, so so this was a family member who asked me, how much do you have to work? I said, I barely have to work. So the family member asked me for a little bit of help with their work. I said, okay. But now while I'm in the middle of their work and I'm helping them set up their thing, I am constantly struggling. And my family members also like, you said you barely work, but you're on the phone the entire goddamn time. You're on your phone from 6 a.m. till 12 a.m. at night. You're rushing to court as well. I thought you said you don't have to work. You don't have to work much. And then I realized that I do work a lot, right? But a lot of times this work doesn't really feel like work.
Because you love doing it.
Maybe. But it's not so much of this thing also. It's I'll tell you this for sure. Okay, this is definitely something that when I started my practice of law, I used to cry about it every single day. It was horrible. Okay, it was just so horrible. Oh my God, these old files. I'm being told to to manage them. I'll pick up a piece of paper. I'll pick up paper out of that file. It'll crumble in my hands. It's like ancient mummy dust. It crumbles in my hand. What am I supposed to manage with this goddamn file? I'm being sent in the middle of nowhere in Himachal to some small village, not even a hill station, a village, to deliver a copy of a document that was summoned by some department. Just, go do this filing and listing. Now I bang my head against the goddamn registry. You please do this, take this, what's the problem? No. But ever since I went independent and then I, got on board team members, it's been much better. Those kind of frustrations have gone. And I'm able to deal with my present frustrations far better. Maybe I've grown into an adult, finally, because of which it doesn't feel that bad. But one of the most frustrating experiences for me was getting matters listed. This whole photocopying thing, the court staff saying, "Abhi nahi, 3 baje aana." Oh my God, karu kya main 3 baje tak, bhai? Very painful. Now my associates have to go through the same pain and suffering. But I tell them that this is not what the practice of law is all about. You need to spend a little bit of time. You need to pay your dues going through this muck. But your time will come. In fact, I have many associates from my team who, when they started out with me about 5 years ago, right, they were the ones doing the filing and the I used to, when I had my first associate, I told him, okay, I used to give him audio notes, long audio notes, 5-minute long, 7-minute long audio notes in the court of dash, so-and-so versus so-and-so, the petitioner, I don't even remember because nowadays I don't even do the dictation work. What was I talking about? I'm so sorry.
Your first associate and long voice notes.
Oh yes. So, this associate, he's also, I used to send him, go do this filing, get this thing listed, big nightmare, right? It was very frustrating for him also. That associate is still with me. It's been 5 years that we've been together. And now he does nothing except help me formulate strategies, vet the drafts of other associates, and then manage the overall team. So I don't think for the past 2 years, I don't think he has even once gone for listing work at the registry. He's not gone once for doing photocopying, because now we have other associates who are now paying their dues. Who, they've been with us for maybe 2 months or a year and a half. They're paying their dues right now, and hopefully, it's just a cycle. You pay your dues, and it's completely okay. So to answer the question, is it, there's a different set of problems now that you have, right? Nobody is devoid of any problem. You look at anybody and say, okay, you know what, this person has A, B, and C things, and because of that, everything is sorted with their lives. No human being is completely sorted out. And if you are completely sorted out, you might very well be, you might very well wear saffron clothes, sit under a tree, and meditate for the rest of your days. So there will always be challenges, but as of right now, I think I'm in a pretty sweet spot in terms of what I've built up in terms of my chamber practice, a wonderful team that I have, a decent number of clients who repose a lot of faith in me. And I am excited to see what else life has in store for the future. What kind of challenges shall present themselves? How will I overcome them? Let's see how it goes.
Okay, lovely. It was lovely hearing from you, Amish. I think we should wrap this up now, and it's a Sunday for all of us and a vacation for you. So thank you so much for joining us. It is a great start to our series as well, and I'm sure our participants loved hearing you. So thank you so much, and
thank you.
Enjoy
it was a pleasure, Urvashi. And thank you all 36 of you who stuck around for so long and listened to me blabbering on. Thank you very much. I'll take the lead.
Bye, all of you.
Bye, guys.